The ballroom glittered with chandeliers that cost more than most people's houses. Men in tailored tuxedos sipped champagne while women in shimmering gowns compared diamond necklaces. It was the annual charity gala, hosted by Victor Langston, a millionaire known as much for his wealth as for his arrogance. That night, Victor was in the mood for amusement. His entertainment wasn't the orchestra playing in the background or the five-star menu. No, he wanted a joke at someone else's expense. His eyes landed on Mary Ellis, a black cleaning lady who worked at the hotel year-round, scrubbing floors and wiping tables while others partied above her. She was invisible to most. But Victor had noticed her humility, her plain uniform, and the way she kept her head down. To him, she was the perfect target. With a smirk, he leaned over to his friends. "Watch this. I'm going to invite the cleaning lady upstairs, tell her she's welcome at my gala. Imagine the look on everyone's faces when she shows up." The group of wealthy guests chuckled cruelly. It was a game to them. A way to remind people of their place. Victor called Mary over, his voice dripping with mock politeness. "Mary, why don't you join us tonight? Come upstairs, be part of the celebration. Wear, well, whatever you like." She paused, unsure if he was mocking her. She'd heard laughter ripple across the table. But Mary had faced humiliation before. She only gave him a small smile and replied softly, "Thank you, sir. I just might." Victor burst out laughing, raising his glass. He didn't think she would dare. The challenge begins. Mary walked back to the supply room, her heart pounding. She could hear the echoes of their laughter behind her. That laugh reminded her of every door slammed in her face, every employer who thought her only worth was pushing a mop, every teacher who once told her, "Girls like you don't go far." But Mary was not the same woman she once was. Behind her quiet demeanor, she carried years of pain, and years of dreams deferred. She had once studied fashion design before life forced her to drop out to care for her younger siblings. She had sketches hidden in her closet, gowns she dreamed of making, and a sense of elegance she had never been able to show. That night, she stood in the mirror of the janitor's closet, staring at herself. She whispered, "They think I'm nothing. But tonight, I will remind them I am more than they see." Preparation. Mary borrowed the one gown she had kept for years, tucked safely away in an old garment bag, a black satin dress she had sewn herself long ago. It wasn't bought from a designer label, but it was timeless, bold, and radiant. She did her hair with careful precision, styled her makeup with the little she had, and slipped into heels she'd been saving for a special day. When she looked at her reflection, she didn't see the cleaning lady. She saw a woman who had survived storms, carried her family on her back, and still stood tall. The entrance. The gala was in full swing when the doors opened. Conversation fell silent as heads turned. There stood Mary, no longer in a faded uniform but in a gown that shimmered under the chandelier light. Her posture was regal, her eyes calm, her every step echoing power. She looked like she belonged, like she had been born to walk that room. Gasps filled the hall. Whispers followed. "Is that the maid? She looks stunning. How did we not notice her before?" Victor, who had expected laughter, felt his smug grin falter. For the first time, he wasn't in control. Mary walked through the crowd with quiet confidence. Every sneer melted into awe. Every mocking whisper turned into admiration. She carried herself not as a guest, but as a queen. The true test. Victor, embarrassed, tried to regain the moment. He raised his voice. "Well, Mary. You certainly surprised us all. Look at you. Tell me, where did you get that dress?" Mary held his gaze, unshaken. "I made it myself." A hush swept across the room. People exchanged glances. "You made it?" asked a woman in diamonds. "Yes," Mary replied softly. "I studied fashion design before life required me to take another path. But design is still in my heart." Suddenly, the laughter wasn't there. Instead, a spark of curiosity lit the air. Guests began approaching her, asking about her designs, her vision, her story. What had begun as a cruel joke was turning into her stage. Challenges she faced. But Victor wasn't finished. He leaned back in his chair, bitter. Well, darling, it's easy to talk. But the world doesn't run on dreams. Do you honestly think anyone here would wear a dress made by the maid? It was the challenge Mary had faced all her life, the world doubting her worth because of her background, her skin, her uniform. She could feel eyes on her, waiting for her to shrink back. But she didn't. With quiet dignity, she replied. Perhaps not everyone. But all it takes is one person who believes. Silence hung heavy. Then, from the back of the room, a woman's voice broke it. I believe. It was Elaine Carter, a philanthropist and magazine editor known across the city. She walked toward Mary, eyes bright with recognition. I've seen your sketches before, Elaine said. You left some designs with one of my assistants years ago. I never forgot them. If you are still willing, I'd like you to design something for me. The crowd erupted in murmurs. Victor's smug face collapsed. Triumph. That night, Mary wasn't the punchline. She was the headline. She walked out of the gala not as the cleaning lady mocked by the rich, but as a designer invited to step into her destiny. Within months, Elaine's support opened doors. Mary launched her first collection. Her dresses walked runways, her story filled magazines, and women wore her gowns not just for their beauty, but for the strength behind them. Victor. He never lived down the humiliation. His joke became the story of how a millionaire's arrogance accidentally pushed a queen onto her throne.